1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Guitar Land, Mike Heading here, coming to you today with the old classic song Redwing, sometimes also called Union Made. It's a great old fiddle tune. We're going to be in the key of G, and we're going to kind of work up, I would say, an intermediate, advanced beginner arrangement. We're going to kind of use basic bluegrass chord positions, but I would say the trickiest thing about this song is sometimes it can be played fast if a fiddle player or banjo player really kicks it off fast. So I would say that's probably the trickiest thing about this song. But otherwise, we're going to break down solos for the A part and the B part, and then work on some more advanced backup. So I'll show you a bunch of chord walks you can do, how to add some G7 chords between, walking to the C chord, some kind of more intermediate level backup we'll do in the backup section. All right, let's jump into Redwing in the key of G. Here we go. All right, let's start breaking down this intermediate version of Redwing. Let's play the first 5 measures. That'll be like the opening musical phrase. So I think with these fiddle tunes, the best thing to do is work on them phrase by phrase, and then you work on stringing the phrases together. So that's what we're gonna do. So let's jump into it. So I'll play the first 5 measures. That's like the opening melody line. Times I'll do it really slow. One time a little faster. And I'll do it even really super slow. So measure 1 is our pickup, and what we're going to do is we're going to hit an upstroke on the open 3rd string on the and of beat 1. So you can count beat 1. We have 1 and then we're going to hit the open 4th string, and then the 2nd fret on the 4th string, and then the 4th fret with all downstrokes, and then we're actually going back to that open 3rd string. We're kind of just going. We start on that open 3rd string, which is our melody note, and then we go below it, and then we're just walking back up is what we're doing. So we have 1. And then we're going to hit the open 3rd string again, which is going to start measure 2, so you can hear how that sounds. So 1. And if you're having trouble with that little upstroke, you could just take that out, count beat 1, 1, and then just play. But just adding that upstroke just kind of adds a little bit more of excitement. Like that. Okay, and then into measure 2. So this melody is a really good study in using the chord tones of each chord. So the chord tones are the notes that make up that chord. So in this case, our G chord, the notes that make up that chord are G, B, and D. Okay? So the melody is kind of starts on the G. Something like that, right? So we're going G, 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 B, D. We're essentially walking right up those chord tones. In that case, I'm just using open strings. You could also do it right here. Same thing, right? So that's the essential kind of basic melody that we're using. So it's important to know the chord tones because that's kind of where the melody is going to lie. So that's also a good spot if you want to create an improvisation is maybe go to a different chord tone to start. That's a good way to create a little variation. So in this case, how we're going to imply that is in measure 2, we're going to hit the open 3rd string, which is our chord tone, right? Then we have our third finger that was just on the 4th fret of the 4th string. We're gonna slide it up from 4 to 5, which is sliding into that same note, hopefully if you're in tune, right? And then we're gonna go right back to that open 3rd string, and then we're gonna do a 2-4 slide, so essentially sliding into that 2nd chord tone. And then we're gonna hit the 3rd fret on the 2nd string with our 1st finger. So we're essentially going from like open and then kind of sliding up into this shape that we were just using, right? So we have... That'd be a good thing to practice. And then we're just going to do a little bouncing in measure 3, kind of just bouncing back and forth between the strings. So just stay in this shape. I've got my 2 fingers down, right? And I'm going to go... So I went down, down, up, down, down. Essentially just filling that space with some picking. So we have... So let's play measures 2 and 3. Don't slide too fast in measure 2. Now we go into a C chord. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to play the chord tones, so the notes that make up a C chord. So you can find them here, 1st fret, 2nd string, open E string, and then 3rd fret, right? So the chord tones of the key, or the chord of C are C, E, and G. So one thing you can notice, just a little music theory, is that that G note is shared by the C chord and by the G chord, right? So that chord tone belongs in both chords. That's a safe note to play over either chord, right? So you can find the notes here, which is essentially the melody that we're doing, and we're going to play them up here because we're already up here. So we're right in this position here, which is like our G. And then if you put your 3rd finger, your ring finger on the 5th fret of the 3rd string, and then your pinky on the 5th fret of the 2nd string, and then your index finger on the 1st fret of the 3rd fret of the high string. So you have 5, 5, 3 on the top 3 strings. That's a C chord. So we're going from this G to this C. You can hear it, right? That's what we're doing. So again, we're playing those chord tones, and then we're going back and just doing that little bouncing again. And then we're going to go down here and play 2nd fret on the 3rd string, and then open 2nd string, which is just kind of like a little filler. So let's just practice that. So we have, let's do 3 through 5. We have, go into your C, don't rush through that. A little slower. Practice trying to keep all these down. That's going to kind of smooth out the song and get you a little bit better flow. And then back. If you wanted to spice up that C lick, you could slide or hammer on into those too. You could do something like that, right? That would depend on how fast the song is, if you could throw those little things in, but totally optional. Okay, so measure 5. Actually, let's play those first 5 measures again. Here we go. So what I would focus on is the positions versus what licks we're playing. So right, we're going from this G open, sliding up into this G here, and then going to this C here, and then going back to G. So if you can maintain those positions in your mind, it's going to give you a lot more flexibility if you accidentally play something slightly different than what I wrote. It's still going to sound pretty safe, okay? So we're right here, we play this, and then measure 6 through 9 is like the next phrase, so we go. Okay, so we use this 2 and open right here at the end of measure 5 to get into position. And then then we go up and we put our ring finger on the 5th fret of the 3rd string, and then our first finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. And the melody is here. So the melody kind of walks down on the 3rd string. Play an A chord and then a D. Okay, so how we're going to imply that is we're going to harmonize it with a higher string to just spice it up a little bit. So we're going to go, so we play it here, and then take your ring finger off and play this chord, which we've already done, that's like our G, and then slide that whole shape down 2 frets. And then do an open 2 hammer-on on the 3rd string. And then you basically slide the whole shape back up and then right back down. So again, what we want to hear is, and we're going, so it just spices it up with some harmony. The other thing I will say here is sometimes in measure 6, this chord, I wrote it as a D. Sometimes you might see it also as a C. I've seen that in different versions. If you see it with a C, just make this first one 5 and 5. So do your pinky like that instead of this way. This harmony works better with a D chord. This one works better with a C chord. So just sometimes these old songs have slightly different chords, so just keep that in your mind, right? Okay, so one more time. Don't do that hammer on too quick, but then right here you have to slide very quick. And then right back down. So you go. So why are we adding that slide? It adds a little bit of an expressiveness. It kind of mimics a vocal quality or a fiddle, right? This is a fiddle tune. And then use this open string right here, and then switch, put your first finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, and play 2, 4, 2. And then quick move your 2nd finger down to the 2nd fret of the 4th string, and then 4th fret, open, and then 2nd fret. So you kind of walk down the notes and then back up again. So you go. So what I do is I just cut off the pressure there. Little lick. Keep your first finger down and go 2, 4, 2, open, 4, open on the 4th string. So you have. Actually, let's play the whole part of measure 9. So we have. Let's put 8 and 9 together. So we have. The other thing I like about this song, or why I wrote the arrangement this way, is you get a mixture of quarter notes like this, and then 8th note runs. So you get that kind of nice mixture of space and then picked notes. So I kind of like that. So again, let's play 6 through 9. So we have. Also in measure 9, you could also like add some hammer-ons. Or like pull-offs. Again, those are kind of intermediate level things. You can start adding those whenever you want, right? So slides, hammer-ons, and pull-offs are kind of optional, right? So I sometimes like picking it, but you could also do.